So today let's learn some really useful rootless voicings over 2/5s and a few upper structure modal voicings directly from Bill Evans. These are the voicings that he plays on Elsa. These voicings are must-know voicings if you want to play jazz progressions. And I'm going to give you all of the exercises to practice all of these voicings in all keys so that you can master them in no time. And of course, all of our members will receive a PDF with today's lesson. Join right here on YouTube, or if you don't want to become a member just yet, remember that there's a link to the PDF in the description down below for any of our videos. Let's start with the rootless voicings over 2/5s. Elsa is a great song to study because it is a sequence of consecutive 2/5s. So we can see what Bill was playing over each pair of chords. So the first pair is an E flat minor 7 to an A flat 7. And Bill plays really standard rootless voicing. On E flat minor 7, we build a 4-note voicing starting on the 3rd G flat. By doing this, you're just extending the chord to the 9th F. On D minor 7, we start the voicing on F and extend it to E like this. Notice that these voicings do not contain the root of the chord. That's why we call these rootless voicings. These are great voicings to use when you're playing with a bass player because you won't get in their way. Now, if you move the second note from the top a half step down, you get a voicing for the related 5 chord. So our original E flat minor 7 voicing turns into this. Now you have a voicing for A flat 7, the related 5 chord. This is another rootless voicing since there's no A flat in it. And you have the 2 guide tones and really good tensions for dominant chords, the 9th and the 13th. So your first exercise is to play this pair of voicings in all keys. But Bill doesn't just play that all the time. On the next E flat minor 7 to A flat 7, he adds an extra note to the 2 chord. This A flat is the 11th of the E flat minor 7 chord, and it sits really comfortably on your left hand since your 4th finger is not playing any notes. And as we showed you in our Thinking Ahead series, the 11th is one of those great tensions to use on minor 7 chords. All right, so step 2 is to add that 11th to all of your minor 7 voicings in all keys. A great lesson to learn from Bill is to know when to use inversions of these voicings. If you always play these exact voicings on any 2/5, you'll find that in many keys, the voicings sound too low or too high. And it's not that they're the wrong voicings, some of them just aren't as strong. And at other times, your melodies or lines would clash with them. Look at these voicings that Bill uses on the B minor 7 to E7. These are the same exact voicings that I showed you before, but now they're inverted. The 2 chord now has the 7th at the bottom, but it's the same rootless voicing that we've seen before. It's just inverted. And the voice leading from the 2 chord to the 5 chord is the same. Here are our original voicings, where the second note from the top, A, moves down a half step to G sharp. And here's the inversion. And on the next measure, Bill uses these voicings again. So your next exercise is to play the 2 5s using these inversions in all keys. Now let's look at the modal voicings that Bill is playing. The interlude in Elsa is modal. The first 8 measures are Dorian, alternating between 2 keys. And the next 8 measures are alternating between Dorian and Lydia. For this section, Bill switches his voicing technique and uses upper structures, using both upper structure triads and upper structure chordals. Now, the best perspective to learn these voicings is to think of where you're playing the upper structures in relationship with the root of your chord. For example, in the first C minor 7 voicing, Bill plays a C4-7 chordal. That's a chord built by stacking 2 perfect fourths on C. This gives you the 4th and the flat 7, F and B flat. That's why we call it a 4-7 chord. This chordal is built on C, the root of the C minor 7 chord. So you can think of it as the 1-4-7. On this B flat minor 7, Bill plays an F4-7 chordal on top of B flat minor 7. So this is the 5-4-7 because F is the 5th of B flat. And you should also use this perspective when you play upper structure triads. For example, on this B flat minor 7, Bill plays an E flat major triad on top. That's the major triad on the 4th of B flat. So you should think I'm playing the major triad on the 4th of my chord. If, let's say, you wanted to play this upper structure on top of a C minor 7 chord, then you would play the major triad on the 4th of C, which is an F major triad. So remember to always practice upper structures by thinking of the relationship between the root of your chord and the root of your upper structure. Now, when you play upper structures, you don't need to add too many tensions to your left hand voicing, because the upper structure is already providing them. And Bill knows this very well. That's why, on his left-hand voicings, he's playing shell voicings that only provide the guide tones and the 5th of the chord. So on C minor 7, he plays this. This is a simple E flat major triad in second inversion. When you think about it, if I take a simple C minor 7 and remove the root, I get 2 guide tones and the 5th. And this is always a major triad on the 3rd of the minor 7 chord. So on B minor 7, I get a D flat major triad. And in second inversion, it's this, which is exactly the voicing that Bill is playing on the B flat minor 7 chord here. All right, so let's annotate this section with upper structures notation. So on the left hand, we're always playing the flat 3 major triad in second inversion. This C4-7 over C minor 7 is the 1-4-7. E flat major triad over B flat minor 7 is the 4 major triad. By the way, the 4 major triad on top of minor 7 chords is a great upper structure for modal Dorian progressions, because you get the natural 13, which is the characteristic tone in Dorian. This G is the 13th of our B flat minor 7 chord, which makes it a Dorian chord. And you only use the 13th on minor 7 chords and modal tunes, since it creates a tritone with the 3rd of your minor 7 chord. You actually want to avoid the 13th in a tonal context because it sounds too much like the related 5 chord, E flat 7. But in modal Dorian, the 13th is the note that you want to use to make any minor 7 chord Dorian. All right, moving on. This F4-7 on top of B flat minor 7 is the 5-4-7. This G4-7 is also the 5-4-7. And here we have the same upper structure chordals again, but this time they're inverted. Remember, when you invert a chordal, you get a sus4 and a sus2 chord. So this F sus2 is actually an inversion of G4-7, the 5-4-7. And this E flat sus2 is an inversion of F4-7, the 4-4-7. And finally, this is an A flat major triad, which is the flat 7 major triad. And again, the 4-4-7 E flat major. So in the following exercise, we're going to practice these 8 measures together in every key. Make sure to study these upper structures using the perspective that I just showed you. The cool thing is that now you can look at the next measures in Bill's version of this song and tell exactly what he was playing and why. Guys, if you really want to work on all these concepts in detail and many others, remember to check our Voicings Deluxe bundle on mdex.com. We worked really hard to create all these courses that cover a ton of techniques with exercises in all keys, lessons, backing tracks from rootless voicings to upper structures, and even pentatonic voicings. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.